You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast, guys. It is so exciting to have you guys here with us again today. I don't know if you guys are listening. It's in the morning, maybe it's in the evening, maybe you're cutting grass and you're on a mower, which typically that's where I'm listening to these. Maybe you're at the gym working out and just trying to get your morning pump, and then also get pumped up as you guys listen to some great business advice and just get to hear what other people are doing in the industry to succeed with a lawn and landscape company. And so on this interview, in this episode, we actually have a guest interview with none other than Kyle Park. So Kyle, welcome to the show. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing well, Brian. Thank you so much for having me. And like I told you before we got on here, I'm a little starstruck with this, so I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely, dude. Well, you thought I was messing with you, and because I invited you onto the show. And by the way, if you guys are listening in, there's 1,000 of you that I want to still get on the show. So if we haven't reached out yet or got you on the show yet, don't freak out or don't get butthurt either. Okay, I want to get hundreds and hundreds of you guys on the show, but we can only do 3 or 4 episodes a week. All right, so it's going to take time. But for real, I wanted to reach out to my buddy Kyle here. You're over on the East Coast, and we've actually got to know each other pretty well over the last, I said 9 or 10 months. We've done a couple coaching calls as well, and your business is exploding, and you're young gun, which is just awesome. So before we go down the whole rabbit hole, why don't you take maybe a minute or two and get these guys up to speed if they don't know who you are, and tell them a little bit about your story and where you're at right now.
Yeah, so like you said, Brian, I'm out of Linthicum, Maryland, so we are just south of Baltimore by about 10, 15 minutes. Funny story, we're actually about 5 or 7 minutes from Mulchmate, which was really cool. So after I know LAL, we had come up, I reached out to Nick, and I have gotten to know him very well. He's a very, very awesome guy, very intelligent dude too.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, we're out of Linthicum, Maryland. We service from Linthicum down to Annapolis. It's about a 20-minute drive from here to Annapolis, but we're not quite focused on route density just yet. We're just starting to implement that. And, last year we did about 60,000 in revenue, and this year I'm looking at doing about 100. So we're really trying to focus on hitting that 6 digits, focusing on our numbers, and just kind of expanding and, taking over this area, trying to provide service and have a blast while doing it too. And, learning the community and meeting more people. That's kind of another thing that I really am excited about.
That's awesome, dude. For real. Well, and how old are you again? You said you're 22?
22, correct.
22. And by the way, you just get engaged, did you not?
Yes, I did, and I will mention this story. So,
well, hold on. Before we'll go down into it, because there's a lot there. Because I know you had a bunch of plans, and you have a really cool story how you guys got engaged. So we'll hang tight. But
all right, we'll do that when we come back to it.
Yeah. I was gonna say I know the stories that you want to share, and we were joking I think on one of our last coaching calls, and we were just having a good time. So if you guys are listening in, Kyle, he's 22, just got engaged. He's on the East Coast, so a lot of different types of lawns and clients and equipment. Way different than my story, which is exciting because I love hearing all the different perspectives that people have to offer out there. So before we do jump into it, we do have a show sponsor, which is exciting. We have none other than Xmark, who is going to be sponsoring this episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. So let's take a quick sip of water here. We'll catch our breath, and then we'll jump right back into it.
At Xmark, we've poured decades of leading-edge engineering and old-fashioned work ethic into our Laser Z, the pioneering commercial zero-turn rider more landscape pros trust. So now you can experience cut quality, performance, comfort, durability, and reliability beyond your wildest dreams. Stop by your local dealer or visit xmark.com to experience an Xmark Laser Z and the attractive financing offers available now.
Awesome, cool deal. Well, always exciting about having Xmark sponsor the show. Those guys just make great product. And you guys know that I'm a big fan of my Laser Z, and we've been using the Stars a lot since it's summertime. It's week-to-week growth. But if you guys are interested in checking out a new lawnmower or equipment, especially maybe even demoing one at GIE this fall, make sure you guys check out Xmark and xmark.com. Those guys have been just great to me to be able to have those guys sponsor a lot of content, which literally goes right back into creating this content for you guys to consume and hopefully help you guys grow a more successful business. So, all right, well, cool deal. Well, Kyle, let's focus on you, brother, because you got a cool story to tell. And I want to make sure that I'm also respectful of your time and not take your whole weekend. We're actually recording this on a Sunday because, Sunday's a day of rest. But for me, this is like rest. Like, I enjoy doing this. It's not work. I just get to hang out, talk to you guys. So I'm like working, but I'm not working. Does that make sense, Kyle? So
exactly. Just taking the time, meeting new people, and just enjoying yourself.
Amen. And you took the day off too, because you guys have been going hard, is what you were telling me just a minute ago, right?
Yes, it's been probably 85, 90 all week, humidity in the 70s, 80s. We had a couple of storms, but they're all in the afternoon. So you're rushing during the mornings trying to make sure you beat the storm, and then next thing you know, it doesn't rain.
Yeah, right.
That's how it's been lately.
I know how that goes, man. Last week it was 94, like every freaking day, 100% humidity. And then we actually took my Thursday route. We divided it up into a Thursday and Friday route, like 2 half days, because like Thursday was like 97 and like 100-degree real feels. It was brutal. So I feel you is what I'm trying to say. So let's do this. Let's go into your story, man. I was telling you before we hit record, and you're like, my story. You're like, I'm only 22. How much of a story do I have? You know, and because you're a babe, you know. But let's take it back. How did you get started in the industry? Were you like the typical 10-year-old kid push mowing lawns, or how did you get started in business for yourself?
Yeah, so I was, the typical 10-year-old kid. I started off at my grandmother's house because my grandmother on my father's side, she was,
Nice.
maybe 5 or 10 minutes away from walking. So I would walk over to her house on a Thursday, and if I couldn't do it on a Thursday, I would do it on a Friday if it was raining or something, and cut her lawn. And the next thing you know, the neighbor up the street had moved in. I ended up there on their lawn until they had moved. So it was just kind of picking up a couple here and there, and then we hit about, I'm going to say high school when I was able to drive. I probably picked up I think I was maybe at about 15 lawns just coming out of high school. And a buddy of mine, Matt, he ended up coming and working with me. And he's my best friend. I've known him since kindergarten. So We've got a long history. So I'm like, hey, I'm doing this lawn stuff. And after lacrosse, he would come out and, we would do some lawns. And we thought we were the stuff. We were rocking a 1986 pickup, and like you said, we had the 265 air conditioning. That was how we were running everything. The 2 windows down doing 65, and then when we weren't doing 65, we were sweating like dogs. So,
Right.
We ended up expanding out of that, and then ended up meeting one of who is my mentor now today. His name is Phil Gerdes. He's actually a really big realtor in the area. I reached out to him and I was like, hey man, I remember his story and everything because he came in and spoke to us in school.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I will give you one chance. You can come out and try, do some services on my property. And if you do good, I will refer you to my client. And right then and there, I'm like, holy crap. It was one of those very intimidating moments. So I ended up going home. We gave him an estimate and did the work for him. And, he's been a mentor and a really great friend ever since. We used to brand ourselves as K&M Landscaping. And then a couple of years ago, we ended up going into Scarlett Oak, which is now our name today.
Okay. Makes sense.
And his big thing was, focus on naming and branding the business as if you can sell it down the road. And that was one of his big things because he's, not only a realtor, he's a very smart businessman to say the least.
Yeah.
Lots of other things I could say about him, but I don't want to get too much into detail. He's a very, very fantastic man.
Okay.
So now we're Scarlett Oak. We've been in business for 3 years officially. So, I have the 8 or 9 years of doing the work and then 3 years of officially being a business. So yeah, it's just been up and up from there. We've had a couple of downs with just how clients have treated us and, having that occasional job where you're like, oh crap, what do I do?
Sure.
So we've had a couple of those and, you kind of look back at them now and you go, wow, I don't know, I should have taken that on, but I did it anyway and it's behind me.
Sure.
So I've loved every bit of it and, take you up to about now present day. I think about a year ago, we kind of looked at the business and I'm like, I'm loving every bit of it. And then we came out to LA. I think you had just released the information on YouTube. And as soon as I saw it, I clicked purchase And then I think that night I went, oh yeah, Chloe, I'm going to this thing. Do you want to go with me? She said, sure, why not? So,
that's cool.
She ended up coming with us, and now we're almost up to present day, and things have been going very, very, very well since.
That's awesome, dude. I'm really excited about hearing that. A lot of stuff we got to unpackage there, because I appreciate you getting everybody up to speed. So you're 22, and were you cutting grass, like you said, in high school, or was this something that you just started like the last 3 years?
I was cutting grass through high school, like I said, maybe about up to 15. And then I would say 2 or 3 years ago, we really just started taking things seriously. Like, oh, let's actually make this a business.
Yeah.
That way, because we had some instances where we were having issues of clients saying, oh, well, I'm going to come after you, or the neighbor, you had done something wrong, like trimming a hedge that was theirs when really in technicality it was the homeowners that you were actually doing the work for.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had a couple of those things. So I'm like, okay, let's legalize the business. So in case there is anything, it's after the business, not my personal stuff.
And that's where the Scarlett Oaks came into play.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
Now, does Chloe work for you too, or with you? Are you guys like together on that, or does she have a job or a career as well, or what's up with that?
So she's been bouncing around for a while, and then she's had a solid job at Golden Corral, but honestly, the last year, like I said, we actually really started taking it seriously together.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been kicking butt. I mean, she can outwork a couple of the guys that I know in the industry. I mean, she has come out and she continually will put mulch down after mulch. And I've got a couple of buddies that come out and work with us, and they got to take a break, and she's running laps around them. And I find it hilarious. So she is a workhorse. She is awesome to work with,
Yeah.
And it's fun. We'll go talking about our life ahead of us while we're on the next job or whatever like that. So it's a very cool work experience to be working with her.
It's nice having your best friend work with you. You know what I mean, or getting to spend as much time, because you shoot me videos all the time. We're always DMing back and forth, and I watch your stories on Instagram, and you guys are push mowing with that old 30 or the new 36, obviously. She's out there, kicking butt, slaying it with you, and I'm like, look at these guys, man, like a young couple making a name for themselves, trying to chisel out their little piece of the pie, which is super exciting. And I've seen you guys just transform over the last year, because you guys came to Entrepreneur Academy Live, and it was really cool because so many people came from so many different walks of life and ages and incomes, and geographically we had people from Texas and Miami and Illinois, and then the East Coast, and here comes walking in at 8:15 in the morning is this like crispy young little couple, and Chloe was like all dressed up professional. She had like gray pants on, and you like were all professional too with dress clothes and pants, and there was no like dress requirement. I said just come with what's casual, like sharp casual, like khakis and a polo or jeans and a polo, so you guys can be comfortable all day. And I remember you guys like walking through the door with like sharp casual business attire and notebooks in tow, and I was like, man, these guys are like serious, like this is awesome. And you guys took probably the most advantage of that whole event. We'll get into that in the last like third. But I just saw like this young couple that wanted to build something together, which is really, really cool. And so you guys have been just kicking butt and taking names, like you said, ever since. So why don't we talk about your business? So what does your business look like now, since you guys have went all in the last 6 to 9 months? Are you guys doing more residential or commercial? How many accounts do you guys have? Help some of these young guys maybe out there get a little bit of some context about where you guys are at right now.
Yeah. So right now we are primarily residential. We have the 1 or 2 commercial accounts we'll help out with. But we've never really done any contracts just yet. I'm actually going to look into that for this year. We're focusing on possibly booking the HOA. I think it's like 80 homes or something like that. Okay. It's going to be a really big task for us to get into that. And I might actually reach out to you for some help on it.
Sure.
But I'm really excited for it because each of the properties are, I would say it's a small HOA subdivision type thing. So it's cookie cutter home after cookie cutter home right next to each other. Very easy to do personally.
Okay.
But we do lawn maintenance, spring cleanup, leaf removal, mulching, garden bed renovations, a little bit little bit of anything that I can kind of dabble my hand into, I like to do.
Okay.
You know, if there's a tree on the ground, I'll cut it up. I've never actually fallen a full tree because here in Maryland, you actually need a tree expert's license to do that.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
but I've actually started dabbling into turf management, and we need licenses for all that. So I just got my license at the beginning of this year. I haven't done any work with it just yet. I want to have the license, and now I'm actually doing a lot more research individually. I actually have a book that I just purchased called The Fundamentals of Turf Grass Management.
Nice.
It's a Wiley kind of like a college book type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really cool. There's a lot of very interesting information. I've been, studying on agronomy and stuff like that. So I really want to be able to get into, I guess, the science of grass growth, and understand and kind of create the golf course type look within my grasses, within my lawns. Just make things look really nice. So
that's awesome.
We have actually dialed back on some services. That was something I did over the winter. After LAL, we came there, and the one thing that I remember from Stanley was, focus on your niches.
Okay.
So that's what we really focused on. And, grass cuttings are one thing we really like to do. Like you said, Chloe with her time cutter, she loves that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, she'll sit out there and lay her stripes with her little 30-inch push mower, and, she's having a blast, and then I'll run around and do the edges, and, it comes out looking nice, crispy, and clean.
That's awesome, dude. Did you?
That's.
Oh, I was just going to say, did you go to school for anything in our field or industry, or did you go to college at all, or are you just making it happen right now and learning as you go?
Currently, I am in college for business management.
Okay.
I am focusing on. I'm doing it slowly, so I'm doing the 4 classes per semester. But this business, and I don't know why, but this business means everything to me.
Yeah.
I have grown to love the industry. I have grown to love the people. I have grown to love how things work. You know what I mean? And I have come up with, the backup plan is that if this business ends up not working, I want to go into sales of equipment.
Okay.
For myself.
That's awesome, dude.
Because I really do. I love the industry. I love to be able to help others out. And it's just something that has made me very happy in the past couple of years.
That's awesome, dude. Well, I was looking at your Instagram too, because you guys use a lot of equipment that I don't use. So you guys use a lot of are all the properties like smaller, gated? I want to say urban, but like, are you guys more in the city, or what's your client list look like right now with the residential that you guys do?
So our residential, it kind of varies. So we have some that are very wide open where I can take a 52-inch sit down or 61-inch sit down and use. And we actually have been demoing some units lately.
Okay.
Because we're looking at purchasing a 52-inch ZTO. Right.
Oh wow.
So we're actually currently in the process of getting that taken care of. I got to fill out the application tonight, actually.
Dude, good for you.
Next, coming up soon will be a new mower in the trailer.
Nice. And you said a right?
So,
what model of right?
The ZTO.
What's the ZTO? Is that the zero turn?
I think the ZTO is the sit down zero turn. They have the ZTO and the MMZ.
Oh, okay.
So you have the mid mount Z, and can't remember the exact differences. I have the screenshot in my phone somewhere, but I misplaced it somehow.
I always forget that right has like the 2 zero turns, and I think even like a walk behind unit, because I think right, standing, because that's what they do, and I'm always thinking like the ZK or the standard B and the standard intensity or I or something like that, and those are like incredibly popular units for standers, especially like their 32s or 36s, which is awesome, So you guys have a lot of gated backyards where you're using these smaller mowers. So are you just getting this bigger zero turn now to have more productivity? Are you guys picking up some larger properties, or where you at now?
We've been picking up a couple of larger properties, but with the reason we got the standard B36 is because most of our properties do have gated backyards, and then they have a somewhat substantial front yard for some reason.
Right.
So we'll end up doing the backyard with the standard, and it's amazing how fast, and compared to the time masher, time cutter that we have, that the push mower is compared to the standard B.
Yeah.
So my productivity level has really, really risen on this commercial unit. So I can, if I were to go out by myself, because right now Chloe does still have to deal with her father. Her father has a couple of health issues that she kind of has to help him out with.
Okay.
So I go out and I'll go out and do the work on my own. And I really do commend her for it, because she's picked up and done almost everything for him.
Wow.
So I'll go out and do the work myself. And, I could be in and out of a property where it would normally take me with, the residential equipment that we had, maybe 25 minutes, and it takes me down to about 15 to 10.
That's awesome,
So it really helps out. And like I said, we're not super, super route dense just yet. And that's something we are focusing on, is getting some route density focused on our, daily route. I hate saying route like 10 times in a sentence, but it's really all it is, just, getting our route fixed so that we're not having to drive everywhere. Because there is sometimes where I have, a 10, 15 minute drive.
Mm-hmm.
But being able to do the job in 10, 15 minutes makes life so much easier than the 20, 25.
There you go. What's an average price over there in Maryland? Like 40, 50, 60 bucks a weekly cut, or what are you guys charging?
So right now, weekly cut, if we're doing a quarter acre, we're about $40. And then our acre, we do about 100 to 105, depending upon how much trimming there is.
Okay, cool.
So you can sometimes get to an acre where you have, evergreens or, your pear trees or whatever out in the front yard.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to trim around, and there's a lot more trimming gears involved. So we, kind of bring the price up accordingly.
Okay, that's cool. That's fair. Yeah, we're trying to raise our prices here every single year, and I've definitely been a big advocate of that. We're doing more work or the same amount of work this year, but making a lot more money because we bumped everybody's price up $2, $4, $5 a weekly cut, $10 a weekly cut on some of them, and so I'm always just curious, like what you guys are making out there on the East Coast, and I hear a lot of people on the East Coast, everything is just super expensive, so from Delaware, Vermont, New England states, like you said, Rhode Island, Maryland, DC, that it's just like, it's crazy sometimes, like what these guys can charge in a good way, because but it also goes with the cost of living. We have friends over in Rhode Island, and they just built like a, I don't know, 1,600, 1,800 square foot. It's like a ranch. It's like a 1.5 story, they call it. And they got like one bedroom upstairs, and but they're almost like $600,000 or something ridiculous, or $650,000.
Oh my Lord!
And I was like,
expensive.
Yeah, I was like, how is that even possible? He goes, dude, that's just the cost of living where we're at. And so I don't wish that upon anybody, but whole nother story for a whole nother time. So,
exactly,
dude, that's all. So how did you and Chloe work together in the business? Do you guys, if you don't mind me asking, do you guys have a place together? Are you guys still separate until you're getting married, or like, are you guys getting married here? I think you said pretty soon, but how does that all work with you guys running the business together? Do you split the money? Have you guys combined money where it all just goes in the same business account, and then how do you guys pay each other?
So as of right now, I am pretty much the 100% owner operator of it, and she is considered a subcontractor. We're still talking with CPA and everything on how to kind of convert that area, because I don't want to go jumping into anything and making it legally that she, 100% owner of the business. There were a couple of things that I was just waiting on someone else to help guide us through it.
Sure.
So and I don't want to go making any wrong decisions where it's going to hurt her or myself. Because everybody always has that, the what if. And I'm like, I'm not focused on the what if.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're doing it right.
Right. That makes sense. So good
for
you guys.
But as of right now, we have a 7x16 trailer that I keep over at a really close friend of mine's house. He has a 7-car garage. And he's like, I have 2 cars. Keep the trailer on the side of the garage. I don't care. I was like, you are awesome. Right. So I don't really have any storage fees.
Okay.
It used to be that we were bouncing back and forth from her house, but something happened lately. So I'm currently residing at my house, and she is 1 week at my place and then 1 week at her place.
So you guys are just running around trying to make it all happen. basically is what you're saying.
Exactly. So
That's
everybody's
awesome.
like, I don't have time. I'm like, don't tell me you don't have time.
Yeah, dude, nothing is ever like super ideal. In fact, literally 2 seconds ago, I had to do a quick edit on the podcast because my dog was started barking because my wife came home, and when she didn't know I was doing a podcast in the studio, and so the garage door opened and the dog started barking. So it's like
perfect timing for the scenario. I don't know how that happened.
literally, I was saying like nothing's ever ideal. Well, I mean, I have my podcast studio in my garage, and one day we're gonna build a home and buy land and off of this Joe Rogan bad to the bone podcast studio. But like, you just do the best you can at every level is what I always try to say. And so
exactly.
Do I want a 40 by 60 pole barn and have it heated and insulated and the whole deal? Of course I do. But hey, right now I work out of a storage unit. It's a 10 by 10, and I have a outdoor parking storage spot, for the trailer. So I pay $55 a month for one and $100 for the 10 by 10. Is it ideal? No, but you figure it out. You just become resourceful is what we call it. Right. And so,
exactly.
That's awesome. So you guys are in that young couple phase where, you're not making millions of dollars, you're still getting your life started, of course. But you guys have an amazing attitude. Like every time I get to talk to you, or you guys shoot me messages on Instagram, like video stories, and you guys are both in the truck. It's like you guys are like sharing Cheez-Its and like going down the road and hustling, man. So it's
Cheez-Its are my favorite. And exactly. So I always tell everybody, I always say this, is that negativity takes out more energy than being positive.
Sure.
Right. And I feel like that should go with everybody, just being positive, love one another. It makes life so much easier and just makes things so much easier to deal with,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of things going on right now, but with her and I and, just family things can always get in the way, but you got to find the positive things because it's what's going to ultimately make you succeed in the end game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one thing I wanted to ask you too was, and this isn't like a selfish plug for me or anything. I'm gonna grab a sip of water here. We're gonna change it up, but I want to continue to press upon like having coaching and mentors and people help you out because you and we've had some really good coaching calls, and I think I don't take like credit for it because you soundboarded off of me, and then you still had to go make your own decision. But I want to get your perspective on coaching calls and our live event because. Correct me if I'm wrong, but between the coaching calls and the live event, you've had so many different, different decisions that you've had to make in the last 9 months that you were just like, hey, what do I do? And so by having a soundboard, you were able to make decisions that you normally would have been able to make because you didn't know that there was other options on the table. I guess if that makes sense. Not to talk
exactly.
Not to talk in circles here, but we're gonna open up those two stories here. So let me do this. Before we do, we're gonna hear from our show sponsors again, which is Xmark, and then we're gonna continue down on your story here. So here we go.
At Xmark, we've poured decades of leading-edge engineering and old-fashioned work ethic into our Laser Z, the pioneering commercial zero-turn rider more landscape pros trust. So now you can experience cut quality, performance, comfort, durability, and reliability beyond your wildest dreams. Stop by your local dealer or visit xmark.com to experience an Xmark Laser Z and the attractive financing offers available now.
Awesome. Cool deal. Well, again, always thank you to Xmark for sponsoring the show and those guys helping bring this content to you. So if you guys are in the market for a new zero-turn mower or a stand-on or even like their commercial 30, that new Kohler engine's on there. It's awesome mower. Check those out always at xmark.com and then also your local dealer. We've been using Xmark for 14 years, so I don't have to sell or convince you guys on those. We've done millions of dollars in sales with them. So again, thank you to Xmark for sponsoring the show. So Kyle, let's go back to I know it sounded like I was talking in circles there for a second because I didn't know how to articulate it, but what I wanted to ask your thought is, and again, this isn't like to self-promote or anything with Launchpreneur Academy or myself because I don't have it all figured out, guys. Like I'm learning every single day with all of you, but I said once, like on another podcast, like if you draw a circle like on a piece of paper and you're like a dot in the middle, like and your orbit is the only thing you know. And then if I draw a circle and I draw myself with a dot in the middle, and that's me, and my orbit might be twice the size of somebody else's, right? Like let's say Kyle, because you're younger, right? And by the way, I talked to somebody who's 40 years old, and their orbit is 10 times the size of mine because of life experiences, perspectives, and they've been through stuff, right? And so these coaching calls that we do, they're really illuminating for so many people. We do 3 or 4 coaching calls. I just did one this afternoon. I love spending time on the phone with you guys. You can always book those online. But Kyle, like you're an anomaly. You're 22. You were probably 21 when you booked your first call with some random dude on the internet, some stranger YouTube guy, But you had a couple of decisions to make, right? You were trying to figure out into this spring, like how to grow your business, but you were at this financial bottleneck, right? So do you want to give people a little bit of context about like where you were with trying to figure this all out? And you were trying to buy a mower, but you guys didn't have the cash, but you knew that if you had the new mower, you would double, if not triple your productivity, like you were just alluding to. So do you want to go down that whole rabbit hole for a quick second?
Yeah. So, beginning of the season, I know I had gone through to the LAL, and LAL, I have to say, was fantastic. And out of it, I've met some fantastic people, Aaron and Matt. They've become brothers of ours, and we just encourage each other every single day. They're fantastic men. So,
yeah.
Outside of that, we had kind of made our little group, and we're pushing each other through winter because winter just in our areas, we kind of slow down on work. We're not doing too much, if anything at all, and we don't really do very much winter work.
Yeah.
So I was just looking for ways to, who can I contact? Who can I talk to? I need to expand myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up purchasing a call with you, and I think this was at the point I either just purchased my trailer, I was looking at purchasing my trailer,
mm-hmm.
and we were also looking at the 36 Standard B, but I did not have the funds at the point of, do I go forward with it or do I, finance it, or do I wait a little bit and then try purchasing cash? Because me personally, my family has raised me to understand the value of money.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I don't want to say I'm, super over. I remember everything about the recession 2007, 8, and 9 area,
mm-hmm.
but we had some issues, and I can remember points of that era where I'm like, wow, there's things to really actually know about money, and you can't just go spending it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got into this thing a couple years ago, just watching a lot of financial YouTube videos. How does good money, bad money, how do all these things work?
Mm-hmm.
And I was asking you, do I just go ahead and finance it? And you're like, dude, finance it and then leverage the money that you're saving. And then when you get to the point, just pay it off.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, should I trust myself to go forward with it? And I personally think it's the best decision I've made, because productivity-wise, I have gone up tenfold. And it's amazing. Like I have told Chloe multiple times, we used to have a 42-inch John Deere. We actually just sold it because, like I said, we're in the process of getting the 52 right, and
mm-hmm.
Maybe even just looking at some other things, just so that we can increase productivity in other areas of the business. I mean, we just got a garden bed redefined, and oh my God, my toes looked at me the other day and went, "Why did you kick a shovel all these years?"
Doing the spade.
It was awesome. I mean, I walked through that yard. It took me, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes to do an edging job, when it would have taken me, almost an hour in the 95 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So it was amazing. So I definitely encourage, reach out, just talk to someone. And, I reached out to Mulchmate, Nick Olson, probably in January, and he told me to reach out to CNC Custom Lawn Services here in Maryland.
Yeah.
And don't quote me on how much they do, but they do in excess of 7 digits a year.
Mm-hmm.
So I reached out to the owner, and he said, here are the days I'm available. And he had actually said, I kind of sort of tested him, not really. I just sent one email. He didn't respond. I responded back out and then tried again. And he's like, well, being that you actually have the drive and the persistence to be in this industry, he's like, I'm going to give you a chance. So he didn't think I was going to show up, but I ended up showing up on the day he said to shadow him. And he's like, I got to give it to you. You have a drive. You want to be here, so I will give you my time. If you have any questions, please reach out. I think that's the really cool thing about this community is that, like you all have said a couple of years ago, I can even say that personally in this area, is that if I reach out to a couple of guys in the area, they're going, "Oh, you're competition. I don't want to deal with you."
Right.
And I've seen that, but in the past couple of years, things have changed. They've gone, "Oh, instead of pushing you away, I should actually help you out because maybe in the long run you can help me out with something."
Absolutely.
And it's always this, it's give take, but in a very good way.
Right.
And I want to be able to get to a point where I can just give immensely because I love being able to help others out.
Were you nervous about reaching out to a guy who runs a 7-figure business as this awkward 20-year-old kid, 21-year-old kid?
Very much so. It's like when you meet, you're like,
it's awesome.
I don't want to say celebrity crush, but like that celebrity that you don't think you'll ever meet, and you get these like really, 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 really big jitters in your chest, and you're like, I don't know how to form a sentence very well today, so please forgive me.
Oh yeah.
So, but it was really cool. And he even said, he's like, "Look, if it weren't for the family that I had in the business, I would do this." And he kind of gave me some directions as to how to go with the business. And it also kind of helped me figure out what I was going to do in the future. Instead of growing to this massive company, maybe I focus on being the small boutique guy that does really good work, has a really good reputation for himself, and, just kind of blossoms from there.
Sure. Well,
it was really cool.
Well, I think one thing that you had mentioned to me on that coaching call that you had just reached out to that gentleman, and I don't know if you had already met with him or you were about to, because this was, like you said, 6 months ago. But I was like, wow, like you're reaching out to a guy who runs like regionally a mega, business by you, and not that he's like the biggest, but he's a really large company. Not to take anything away from him, of course. And I was like, dude, that's an awesome next step. And I'm like, so what can I do to help you? And I just remember on the coaching call that you had like, I don't know, you had a couple grand, you had a couple options, you had a couple mowers. You just didn't know like how to process it all. Like what's my next move? What's my next step? And here's the cool thing about coaching calls, or when you go to a mentor situation, is that you have to come with solutions. Like you're looking to have them weigh in on those solutions and soundboard, but a mentor isn't designed to solve all your freaking problems. So like,
exactly.
Like I was like, well, Kyle, what do you think? When you guys call in, I'm like, what do you think you need to do next? And so if I just give you the answer, I'm not helping you grow. I might solve that problem, but it's a Band-Aid, right? Like I'm trying to help you think. And so you go, well, it's kind of like 4 or 5 options here. I could sell this mower and take some cash and put it as a down payment on a new mower. I can sell this other mower, take that cash, put it towards a trailer. I can finance the trailer. I can pay cash for the trailer. So you had like these 4 or 5 options, and I forget all the exact details, so forgive me, but I remember us talking and saying like, hey, let's get the trailer. Let's take this other mower. It's got high miles or hours on it. You're going to get rid of it anyway. Take that money and then put it in the bank or buy some other tools. And then I said, well, why don't you go just go finance a new 36-inch, because you were trying to, you were for real at this bottleneck where your push mowers weren't keeping up. This other mower didn't have the power, the productivity to keep on because it was on its last leg or something, right? And I said, well, why don't you go get a 36? And you said, well, I never really considered financing one and like leveraging, good debt with 0% money. And I'm not saying that's the right thing to do for everybody, but we've spent 40 minutes on the phone talking about all this, and I'm like, how's your business? Are you stable? Is your personal family like stable? Are you able to go do this? Are you going to do this for the next 4 or 5 years? And you were like, yes. Things made sense. And I remember you saying you went to the dealer, and hopefully you don't mind me sharing some of these stories because I think it's just really helpful for the younger guys. But you went and got approved for financing, and you still needed like another like $1,500, right? Wasn't that the story?
Yeah. So we ended up getting approved. I think it was like 5,000 even or something like that, and then they wouldn't go anything above that. So I was like, well, do I just accept it and go with it, or should I put a credit card? Like how should I go about it? And So we ended up putting it on the credit card, and fortunately ended up paying that off with the amount of work that it came in with just afterwards. And now, like I said, productivity after getting the 36, and I also say the ability of the mower has also exceeded my expectations. I mean, I probably shouldn't do it, but it has enough torque and power that I have actually pulled some stumps out with the mower. So I have saved myself back pain with using a tool that, yes, I wasn't able to fully front all the cash for, but being able to leverage it and then pay it off just afterwards, it is made life so much easier, to say the least.
That's awesome. And I remember you saying, like, the first week you had it, you were sending me a bunch of stories because you were so excited. You're like, dude, this lawnmower.
Oh man, I was so happy. And and that's the other thing, is that I want to share the positivity, but I haven't gotten to the point where I know how to tell a story very well on Instagram. So that's the other reason I send chats to, like I said, Aaron and Matt, and the only reason I've sent them to you is because sometimes you give them like this little bit, like this little tweak or like this little feedback. And it's not that it's negative. It's just saying, hey, look, try this, or, dude, that is so awesome that you got that. And, things are going well. And the constructive criticism makes life so much easier to me personally. And I've also thought about, and it's not that I'm bragging or boasting or anything, it's that I've also thought about doing possibly a podcast or something, just so people can, to create a community.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I've also told my clients, is that you're not a number in my book, because, and granted, I know I'm separating the business and personal, but I don't want them to feel as if they're a number in our book. I want them to feel as part of a family, because I want to be able to create and spread information for their lawn as well as their gardens, and just make things simpler.
Dude, for sure.
To say the least.
Well, that's why I wanted to get your story on the podcast, because when we were talking, I think the advice I had given you was, because you were like, well, do I put it on a credit card? And I go, it's up to you, man. I said, there's no right or wrong answer. Now, some people are like, you got to be debt free, and you got to, this, and this, and like, no good debt. And I'm like, okay. And if you want, go ahead, use debt. If you don't want to use debt, I don't frankly care. I don't own a finance company. I don't have any skin in the game. It's your finances. So it's not like, what do I care? It's just, you got to figure out what makes sense for you. I did a podcast episode. It was like number 10 or number 14. It was called Don't Dull the Scalpel. And I talked about, you have to have some financial IQ, because a scalpel's not good. A scalpel's not bad. Again, a scalpel can save your life, or a scalpel can kill somebody. And I go through this whole analogy.
Exactly.
I thought it was a really good way, because that's how it was presented to me a decade ago. But I think the advice I'd given you was, okay, well, you got $5,000 as a line of credit, and you wanted to bridge the gap with $1,200. I said, well, you can go put $1,200 or $1,500 on a credit card. I said, or, try to find 2 customers that can prepay, and, $750 each, and take that $1,500 down. Because again, this was in February, March, we were talking. I said, get 2 customers to prepay for the season, and then take that $1,500 and go put it as your down payment on that mower to bridge the gap, right? To then finance, obviously, the balance of the mower. And you were like, I've never thought about that before. And it's so simple. And I'm not a hero. I mean, come on, like, that's, again, when you're younger, you don't know all these things, because I didn't know. But the older you get, and especially with a coaching call, or you just get 30 minutes on the phone with somebody, they can present these different options to you. And it happens to me all the time. I talk to so many professionals, so many sharp people and smart people, because I'm trying to do the same thing. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm at a bottleneck. Something's stuck. What do I do? And then, to me, there's no options, right? Like, I go down this maze and I find a brick wall. And so then I talk to a coach or mentor, and he goes, well, go click this button in the wall, and the secret door opens up, and you can bypass that. And I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me about this trap door? And so, again, at 21, you're investing in the coaching calls, which is just insane. Like, it just shows me how hungry you are for it. Hey,
actually just peaked 2 things that sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but you actually just picked 2 things. It wasn't that our sales had went up. It was actually, it just piqued that you said that. It was actually the prepayment of one of our clients that helped pay off the bill of the mower.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I wanted to say is, my parents are very much into the financial IQ. They're always trying to push things and tell me, keep a record of your books, keep this, do this, and sometimes it does take the experience of another like yourself to say, hey, look, you need to do this in order to kick someone like myself in the butt and go and do.
Sure.
And that was another thing that just kind of popped into my head is that, sometimes you can hear all these different inputs, but sometimes you just need either a mentor or someone that you respect within the business to give that information or to tell you that information, like in our coaching call, to do something. And sometimes that helps you come to a decision or kind of make the decision easier as to what you're going to do moving forward.
100%. 100%, dude. And you know what? And again, it's the soundboard. Like, I don't have all the answers. You and I, we just spitballed. And I'm like, well, Kyle, what do you think? What do you think about this, this, and this? What's the best case scenario? What's the worst case scenario, right? I'm like, okay, if nothing changes, you don't make any more money, can you still pay for this thing? And you were like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I said, now, flip side, obviously, let's look at the upside. What can this do for you? You're like, dude, I can double my productivity. I'll be happier because I'm not pushing a stupid mower all day, all these different things. And
exactly,
even though they're self-propelled, right? But Chloe can use this 36 and she doesn't have to be pushing a 21 or a 20 or 30. And you can do more backyards. And so she can be, pulling weeds or trimming, and you can charge an extra $150 while you're on a property. Like all these, like you were just alluding to, these little landscape jobs. Now you have a little bit more time to do all this. Is that kind of what you're saying? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's kind of what you're saying.
Yes, that is exactly. So, I can give a little thing.
And that equates to making more money.
Exactly. So, like I said, we were demoing a couple mowers, and we had gone. Our dealer, Gamblers Equipment Center, God bless them. They actually really helped us out this past week with using a demo as a rental for a couple of things.
Okay.
And because, like I said, we're in the middle of trying to sell a mower and get that 52. And this week was a hectic week. I mean, we did, I think, 45 lawns in 3 days.
Wow.
So, and like I said, our route density is not anywhere near what you do. So, I mean, we're doing 15, 20 lawns, and we still have, 10, 15 minutes of drive time between the properties.
Sure.
So we kicked butt this week, but
that's awesome.
We had a 61-inch right, and I don't even remember where the story was going. But anyway, we had used the X mark, we had used the right, and Chloe had ended up actually using the right this week because she's not a huge near-term person. She loves being able to stand behind the mower, push the mower. It's one of her, favorite things to do.
Yeah.
But she got on the right this week, and she's like, Kyle, I think this one's going to be my mower.
Oh, there you go.
I'm like, okay then. So she already is taking claim of the new right once we end up getting it, and that's totally fine with me. I love the stand-on mowers. I like having the visibility and the ability that, if there's a piece of trash in front of me, I can just hop off the mower real quick and then hop right back on and go mowing again.
Dude, that's awesome.
So,
yeah, I love the vantage point and the view, with the stander. So I'm convinced. Like, I think as long as it can keep up with spring growth, that's always tough with standers. I don't feel like sometimes they process as much grass. At least my Starus doesn't. But when it comes to weekly growth, it's a tank. But some of the mowers do, some of the mowers don't. But again, demo. Make sure they're good for your area. Hey,
and I will preach on the demoing because we ended up, like I said, we tried the X mark, but there's two things I found a little finicky with it was just the way that the drive was compared to the right. I liked how smooth the right powertrain was, and then also on our terrain we have, it's not perfectly level, but we have like the little divot and the little bump, and I noticed that the right deck was much heavier, so it would sit on the ground for the most of the driving, which I thought was really awesome about it. And everybody has their different preferences. You love X-Mark, and I personally, I thought the X-Mark was awesome. It was a great mower.
Yeah.
But I I would give the upper hand to the right just for how it handles the terrain in the area.
Totally. That's awesome, dude. Well, I haven't gotten that much action on rights. The nearest dealer for me is like 2.5 hours away. So everybody's like, why don't you use a right? I'm like, one, because I used Exmark for a long time. Two, I love Exmark. They're just a great brand, great mowers. But three, that the dealer is like 2.5 hours away from right. And so it's not even a thing. And frankly, I don't lose a lot of sleep on equipment. I'm like, look, I just need a mower that can keep up, something that can cut grass. Because I'm more excited about growing the business than I am about, what particular mower I'm using. But again, it's still fun to oogle, over mowers because it is equipment, and who doesn't love talking about equipment? Hey, one other thing.
Exactly.
One other thing I had to, I wanted to throw in there. This is like a personal story relating to when you were talking about coaching and mentoring and just having different perspectives. Like it was about a month, I would say like 3 weeks ago, at least live at the time of this recording, where Liz and I were looking at buying land. And we did a video on YouTube just last week talking about the 3 or 4 different properties that we were looking at. Well, one of them, Liz and I are in the process of buying, and so you heard it here first, and so we'll do another video once it closes. But I called Stanley Dirt Monkey. So I have a personal life mentor. His name is Jim. He's actually the guy that does my AV at our live event, and so I texted him, and so him and I were having a conversation. Then and somebody in my industry, like in business industry, and Stan, is extremely successful. So I called
Chloe
Stan.
loves Stan, too, by the way. Stan, if you're listening, Chloe loves you. She loves how honest you were at the event. Yeah, she loves Stan. She talks about him all the time. She's like, "Are you listening to Stan?" Yeah, I'm listening to Stan.
Dude, he's a great man. He's a really, really good guy. I mean, he is. What you see on YouTube is what you see in real life, and vice versa. And he's just like I don't know, dude, like an old school, like Midwest, dad, but he's a contractor too. So he's like, he's very bold. And sometimes people like it, sometimes people don't, but you're going to get the truth. And whether you like the truth or you don't like the truth, like, that's up to you, but Stan's not going to stop telling the truth. And,
exactly.
So long story short on the whole, analogy about calling mentors and coaches is I called Stan. I don't know, it was like 3 weeks ago, Wednesday. And I said, hey, Stan, Liz and I are looking at this property. It's a gob of money. Now, it's funny. I didn't know how much land was in other regions because I'm like, they want, this much for 3 acres, and it's a ton of money. And, the most Liz and I have ever spent together as a couple was $60,000 on my truck. And we had money for down payment, and it was a big purchase, but I had the cash flow. I had the business to support it. So I wasn't like, it was actually a pretty peaceful purchase. In the land, same boat. We have a chunk for a down payment. We have good cash flow. Our life is pretty stable, but it was still a lot of money, and it was multiples over of what the truck cost, right? And so
exactly,
it's an unknown. And so it doesn't matter if you're 22 or 32 or 34 like me. I called Stan and I said, and he goes, hey, what's up, Brian? I go, hey, do you got like 15, 20 minutes? He goes, yeah. He goes, what's up? And so I'm throwing out my whole life up on him. I'm like, hey, and he knows where I'm at because him and I talk once a month anyway. But I'm like, hey, like, here's where I'm at. Here's what I'm doing. He's like, well, how's your life? How's your businesses? Like, how much cash you got? Where's your route? And so anyway, same exact thing. I'm doing you guys do coaching calls with me. I do coaching calls with other guys that have a bigger, universe, a bigger ring around that dot, right? Because I was asking Stan, and I'm like, well, I'm a little nervous. I said, I think everything lines up when you put pen to paper. And again, I brought solutions to Stan. I just needed somebody to not tell me yes or no, but just to make sure that I wasn't going to get blindsided, And so
exactly,
I didn't go, Stan, what should I do? Like, tell me what to do, because I don't want somebody to tell me what to do. And so anyway, I just say is that, whether you're doing this at 18, 19, 20, or some of you guys call in and you're 30 and, you're trying to figure out your business and in your life. And again, I don't have it all figured out, but sometimes it takes like an external person who's not like emotionally tied into the decision-making process to banter with you and to present options. And sometimes, you know what? Hey, Kyle, don't buy that mower. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes, hey, dude, you might want to work your job, burn the candle at both ends for another 6 months before you go all in with your lawn care business. But if you don't have somebody being honest with you who doesn't have any like emotional investment, then that's a great person to soundboard off of. And it can be me, it can be Paul Jameson, it can be, like you said, another mentor who runs a 7-figure lawn and landscape business 20 minutes down the road that you just bug and want to, have help you out. I mean, that's incredibly powerful. One other question I want to have for you, we're already almost at an hour, believe it or not, dude, it turns into a time warp, but what I wanted to hear a little bit more of your thoughts, because you and I can talk for hours on so many different topics. But one thing I think really helped you out, and again, it's not a plug for Launchpreneur Academy, so relax if you guys are listening to this. I'm not trying to plug things here, but for this young guy, he's 21, 22, and you're trying to make life happen. Can you share a little bit more about when you were at Launchpreneur Academy? Did you know that you would form this accountability group with yourself and a couple other guys, like Matt and all these guys, over the last 12 months or so? Because I mean, that has got to be a huge asset for you. And again, soundboarding, friends, peers, just paying dividends for you. So can you go into how all that's worked for you guys, that you developed that from Launchpreneur Academy?
Yeah, so going into Launchpreneur Academy, I didn't know exactly what to expect. All I knew is I was really coming into a conference, and I was coming there to learn. I was coming with the biggest of open minds I could possibly come in with.
Sure.
So we ended up coming in, I think it was like the dinner at, was it Black Rock?
Yeah, Black Rock.
I can't remember the restaurant name.
Yep.
Yeah, so we ended up going there, and Claire and I were sitting on the opposite side of the restaurant. And we had met Aaron and his wife Jamie at Weingards, because we came up early, wanted to see Weingards. We bought him a blower at Weingards and all that. So we had a little, something to take home kind of thing. It was a little expensive, but anyway. But no, we ended up meeting them, and they were just the best group of people we could have possibly have met. Mm-hmm. And we had ended up getting to the conference room a little late for LAL, and it's just because we ended up forgetting something in the room. So I had to run back up and grab something, and she had joined me. So we come back down. The room is pretty much packed by the time we get in there. And, we're just looking around trying to find a table, and Matt ended up waving us down like, hey, we saved you some seats. And from then on, I'm like, you guys are awesome. We ended up spending the rest of the time together and, have their numbers. We talk on a daily basis. I mean, it's kind of weird. We're like, the girls always call us like we're all girlfriends together, that kind of thing. Like Matt's my girl. It's a goofy little group. But,
yeah.
Being able to just soundboard off of them yourself, Nick. I mean, I was talking with Nick Carlson the other day about an idea that I had, because I can't personally kind of engineer something to put it together to make something work.
Sure.
So I had reached out to him and said, hey, would this be something in your wheelhouse that could help the industry? So we bounced back and forth about that for a while, and he said he had been thinking about some things like it and all that. And it just being able to form a community, and like I'll put this out there. Aaron and Matt, they had both ended up purchasing a couple vehicles lately so that they can improve their business. Matt ended up getting a 450 Ford, I think it was like a 2003 6-liter or something like that.
Okay.
I can't remember the year, so don't quote me on the year. If I have it wrong, I'm sorry, Matt. And Aaron had just got, I think it was a couple days ago, he just bought a 2012, and I currently have a 2001 Ram 2500 gas. Okay. It guzzles fuel. I get maybe 7.2 miles to the gallon with my trailer. So I can watch the fuel gauge go down as I'm driving.
We've all been there.
Yeah. So I'm currently in the process of what can I do by the end of the year? Do we look forward, by the end of August, do we look at getting a vehicle? Do I go further to the end of the year to looking at a vehicle? Do I sell the Ram that we have now? And I got to thinking the other day that I can keep the Ram, and my best of ideas is to put a ramp rack on it, because I'd still be able to put a ride-on mower in the back or a stand-on mower in the back, and have a push mower, and then I can have my brother go out, because I'm on podcast. I can't remember my brother's age. 20.
Okay.
Sorry, he's 20.
Sure.
So I forgot. He's 2000. He goes with the year. So
there you
he's
go.
20 years old. He can take over, and he's gotten a lot better. I mean, we used to butt heads when we were kids. I mean, butt heads really bad.
Mm-hmm.
But now we actually have a nice relationship, and we're good buds now, and laugh at each other's jokes, kind of thing. And I'd love to be able to have him go out on doing a route. Maybe he has a friend, and we hire him, and then they go out and do well themselves, and then I have a newer truck that can hopefully pull this trailer, and we can look into a dump trailer. But instead of selling something that I know can be utilized, I can adjust its utilization and then look forward to that. But then it also comes down to, I got to talk to CPA with the numbers and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And, like you had said, the only person that knows your numbers are your bookkeeper, your CPA, and, a couple of family members maybe, and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where I try to keep it. My mother is actually, she's pretty much a professional bookkeeper. So she is in the process of working all that.
Oh, nice.
Which is awesome. So it saves a lot of money. She's like, just pay me a little bit. I'm like, how about I just fill the boat when it needs gas?
Hey, that's a good deal.
That sounds pretty cool. So,
Right.
And the boat's another story. That's 300 gallons of fuel. So let's not get started on that one.
Yeah, right.
So, but she, we came up with a really cool deal. So she's helped me out on that, and our CPA has been wonderful. So, but being able to create a sense of community, it makes you feel more at home than alone. Okay, sure. Sometimes you just have to ask somebody, hey, this is where I'm at. What can I do?
What do you guys think?
This is where I'm at. What can I do?
Yep.
And I'll pray that to my grave. I really think being able to create a sense of community will make life so much easier, and it will add dividends, and it'll expand your circle exponentially in the long run than what you really think it will.
That's awesome, dude.
So you think it'll be, say your circle's 10 feet, it'll be 500 feet, by adding more people.
Well, and the thing is too, just to plan this analogy, and I don't know if this makes any sense, but like it also keeps that rubber band stretched, where you don't go back to your old thinking and you don't go back to your old ways, because accountability group, and it's like the analogy with a rubber band. Everybody's heard it, but like once you stretch a rubber band, it never goes back to the same size. Well, that's where that accountability group comes into play, and you're like, well, I think I should do this, this, and this, and your accountability partners are like, no, dude, like that's not the right decision, bro. Like you said you were going to hit these goals, and you said you were going to bring this business. Like, why aren't you out there crushing it? And you don't want to feel like, the loser, in the group. So you got to perform, you know what I mean? That's how I feel, at least. And,
most definitely.
So I think last year's ticket for Launchpreneur Academy was $179, and tickets will go on sale in the next week or two here for 2020. But what
I'll be honest, I'm refreshing my page like every day because it's up on my computer. I'm just like, come on, go. I want to get the ticket.
That's funny, dude. Well, another week or two for sure, they'll be up. So, and I'll tell you what, it's going to be limited seating because I don't know. I'm getting the groundswell that I keep hearing is like everybody's coming, and I'm like, well, if everybody's coming, like that's good. But we only have like 225 seats or 250. I mean, we're expecting more than last year, but it is a limited size room. I mean, we literally can't fit more people in there because the fire marshal will shut it down. So if they do go on sale, like get them in the first 72 hours, because I think last year we sold like 150 tickets in 10 weeks. We might sell 150 tickets this year in 10 days, and once it's full, like it's full. Doubt. Yeah, there's no overflow room. We're not doing like a live stream or anything. And by the way, and this is really cool because for $179, yes, you got all the info. Yes, you got the training program, the replay, because we gave the live replay to everybody that was at Launchpreneur Academy live. So if you guys are like, well, I want to buy that training program, it's $99. Well, that's for the live replays. And that didn't include everything because there's a lot of stuff that I omitted from like a couple different speakers that were additional. So if you want the whole experience and the emotion, and it's like hearing your favorite band, you go see them live in person and it's incredible. And then you get you get the CD and it's like, it's still really good, but I'm a big Trans-Siberian Orchestra fan. So when you go see TSO live, it's incredible. You see them or hear them on CD, still really, really good stuff. But the in-person concert with the lasers, the lights, not that we have that at Launchpreneur Academy, but you know what I'm saying. So when I don't have to
Maybe
edit
2021.
Yeah. As the budget grows, we'll see. But we'll have like fire and pyro displays or something. I don't know, and it'll be like a 10x conference.
Oh, don't get me started with fire. I'm really bad with fire. We make big bonfires here.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Well, we'll have professionals handle all that because I have no idea because I'll burn the whole place down. But again, like some people, you go to a live event, they charge another $100 or $200-$300 for the live event recording, and I'm like, screw that. Like I hated that stuff. So we gave it to everybody who came, and they can, and then also the MP3s. But again, for $200 for your ticket, and there was a discounted rate for the spouses or the wives and the girlfriends or the husbands, if the wife wants to come, which is awesome. And so you brought Chloe. But what you didn't know for $200 is that you were going to get an accountability group and make these long-term friendships. And there's so many people at the event that have also have these pockets of people and friendships. We had round tables, so you could like get to know each other. I know Mike Gunn was there with Pajak and DePace, and they were all at a table, just really, really good dudes. And so that's the kind of stuff that I want to make available. And of course, great content from all the speakers. But I had to selfishly ask you about that because you're a smart man where you took advantage of the event. You didn't just like go, like you brought your girl, you guys got on the same page, you brought your notebook, you guys took a crap ton of notes, but then you I don't even know if it was like intentional, like you said, but then you made good friendships. And again, those friendships have helped you pay huge dividends over the last, 9 or 10 months it's been?
Yeah. And I think it also resorts back to it's not in what you know, it's who you know.
Mm.
I had become friends with Jake from Jake's Lawn Care. We probably talk almost every 3 or 4 days or so.
Jake Meisner?
I responded one of his. Yeah,
Jake's crazy.
He is a trip. he is a great guy.
We didn't get into the Gary story, by the way. I'm so frustrated.
I know he was. I'm waiting for that one. Get him back on.
We're gonna get him back on. He's coming over end of month when Paul does his summer tour, and the Gary story alone might be its own episode. We might just do a 15-minute episode. He tells really good stories. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
He does. He's a very good storyteller.
He is. That's awesome. So
it's coffee time with Jake.
Dude, he's a good dude. He's crazy, but shout out to Jake. I know he's listening. But well, here let's. I'm gonna probably wrap this up here, man, because I've got another call that I got to do here with Drummy. So we got to get digging with Drummy on the line, and so we're gonna kind of shut this down here. But any last things that you want to leave the audience while you got your episode here, man, because you're a butt kicker. I know you and Chloe are doing a great job, and just super proud of you guys, super excited for you. So many great things going on, for you over the next 12, 18 months for sure. And of course, getting married and getting your guys' life started. So any valuable tips or lessons that you want to leave these guys while we got you?
Well, I really appreciate it, Brian. My biggest thing is just focus on growing, come into this industry, be open, not only with yourself, but with others, and just pass on the growth. If somebody's having issues, reach out to them, help them out, and if somebody comes to you with questions, just feel free to respond. That's the one thing that I have to give to you, Brian, is that you, no matter who it is or who you are, and if somebody reaches out, you respond.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like that works back to you being just a down to earth, humble human being. And I think that's how we all need to act instead of going, I bring in more money than you, I am better.
Yeah.
I feel that we're all in the same playing field. We're all out there, getting our hands dirty, but let's have fun, create a sense of community. If you guys want to reach out to me and just be friends, let's be friends. I love meeting new people. I love learning.
Yep.
So
that's awesome, dude.
That's just the biggest thing I love about it. Everybody, the community is becoming something much better.
That's awesome, dude. Well, again, and you're taking that to heart because not only that you get access with the lawn care community on YouTube or Instagram, the Launchpreneur Academy, like one of our live events, which will be on this November, but you're also smart to take advantage of it locally, dude. You're reaching out to a guy who has a multiple 7-figure business, and that's huge. I mean, like, again, you're 20, 21 years old. Like, the amount of information and, again, perspective that guy can offer you is incredible. And to own it, to recognize it at 21, and to be a student like you are. I mean, I didn't have access to that until I was 30. So I can't wait to see how your and Chloe's life, transforms over the next, 5 and 10 years, because you guys are just getting started, man. So keep the hammer down. Don't let too many distractions get in your way, like you were talking about earlier. But at the same point, just keep making a name for yourself. And again, we're going to have to get you on the show maybe once a year, or if not more, and just continue to hear about your success. But all things being said, if I don't catch up with you again between now and fall, I'm sure I'll see you at either GIE or again at Entrepreneur Academy. So you betcha, brother.
We already got the tickets for GIE. We're actually the group. We have an Airbnb together. We're going to do a Nerf war the day before GIE starts.
Nice.
And then we're coming to GIE the next day. So we're going to be little children and then come and just have a blast.
I'm a 34-year-old grown man that's like a man child going around GIE like a little spider monkey, because it's so much fun. So I guess
exactly.
I'll see you at 4th Street Live. We have like the promo code. I think it's VIP Brian or Brian's BRIANS that saves you 50% off. Or use promo code Paul, whatever. You just everybody's got a 50% off code. Just register, get there, and it'll be a great time. That's I think like the 3rd week of October, like 22nd or something like that. So if you guys
21st to the 23rd.
Is that what it is? Cool deal. Yeah. Get your tickets.
Kind of memorized. I'm a little obsessed right now.
Yeah, I'm selling tickets
for our first year, so I'm excited.
Oh shoot. Well, dude, you need to get a map and get organized. So I'm selling tickets for them.
That's what I'm doing.
I have no idea when it is. It's October. And then my wife goes, "Hey, let's get in the car." And I'm like, "All right." So but no, I'm just kidding. It does take a little bit of organizing to get down there, and hotel rooms and tickets, and I should probably get a hotel room because I don't know. Normally Liz handles all that, so I got to catch up with that. So, but all right, dude. Well, this has been good. Tell Chloe we said hey, hi, and bye, and give her our best, and tell her that Liz and I said hey, and we'll definitely see all of you guys down in Louisville, and again down in over here in Nova, I should say, in November, man. So thanks again for taking the time to be on the show.
Well, dude, thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
You bet, brother. All right, guys. Well, hey, Kyle Parks, go follow him now. Hey, what's your Instagram so everybody can follow you really quick?
Oh, you're killing me on the spot. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Kyle Parks on Instagram. You guys got to reach out to him so you guys can say hey and keep up with all of his shenanigans, because this guy, he's a stud, man. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed the whole show with him. So it's Kyle. Let me look it up really quick. And
it's Kyle_Parks_30. And then the business account is Scarlett Oak Landscape.
All right. So Scarlett Oaks Landscape, and then Kyle_Parks_30. I love it. All right. Cool deal. Well, that's it, guys. Thanks again for joining us on another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these as you mow, as you trim, as you blow, or as you work out, or you go to the grocery store, or maybe you're just listening to this 11 o'clock at night while you do some cleaning around the house. I don't know. But the bottom line is you're getting some mind food, getting pumped up, getting amped up, and we appreciate Kyle taking time to be on the show. All right, guys. That's it. Have a great rest of the afternoon or evening whenever you're listening to this. And guys, we'll catch up with you on the next one.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.